Okay, so we got root 2, 3, 5, 6. Root 2. Now we're going to go to 3 here. The green note there, right? That's our third in our E. Whoops. And then we're going to do this little, we have our little easy chord, and we have this little upside down U-boat here, right? Or that the boat of blue, the blues boat. Okay, so we can go 3, 5, 6, root 2. So we go. And that 3 up there. So we can do the cutout into this cool little shape here, or there's the easy chord up there. The easy chord just defines the box pretty much, and they're all defined by that easy chord. So if we just slide over here to the Mixolydian, and I'll explain all this stuff. This is why Andy's free guitar chart videos is very helpful, because I'm here to explain all of the shorthand here. For instance, over here, we did a cutout. So if you see a C/show, that's a cutout from the regular play-away patterns. Let's play it on play-away. Root 2, 3, 4, 5, or we'll do pentatonic. Root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5. Now we're going right into a D pentatonic, because the Ionian string shape, root 2, 3, leads right into the D string shape. Okay, so the R, E string shapes leads right into the D string shape, and it leads into that D pentatonic. We've talked about that a lot in the past. So the 1 is root 2, 3, 5, 6. The 4 is going to be a substitution. The 5 is going to be a substitution. Okay, and this we'll talk about horizontal substitutions and vertical substitutions, but that can get confusing. So let's first learn the patterns themselves. Let's look at Mixolydian here. Okay, it's the neighbor. It's the neighbor of the Ionian. Is the Mixolydian there? Okay, E to A 5 is a 4th. That's cool. 5 E to A. We got 5A right here. So it's a 5A long, and we can either take the cutout. Here's your 725 in the A box. Now we can put the capo on and leave it on. So I can play it up here, or I can play it down here and say C is the 5th of something. So that would be playing an F. Putting it on my G up here, because remember I'm down tuned, so my G's way up here. Okay, putting it on the G up here, the G is the 5th of C. So we're going to have the cutout option. We're going to have the long play away 5A, or we can just walk over to this G pentatonic that starts here. Okay, so the G pentatonic right there, up there. Okay, now we're only going to be doing the first one here, the 5A G. This is the summary one up here. This is everything. This is kind of like, you know, brute force here, because this stuff we haven't talked about yet. So we're only looking at the 5AG, because you got to learn the pattern before you learn the substitution. And the substitutions are easy when you realize that to substitute a shape, you got to put the shape in and not worry about what the numbers are. Okay? Because the pentatonic numbers are going to change from root 2, 3 to 4, 5, 6 to 5, 6, 7 and get confusing. But it's easy when you substitute the shapes. So let's look at this. 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6. Now what's this? What's going on there? And where should I go from 5, 6? Should I continue up on the G? If you want to. Or from this 5, 6, I can go to root, and then I can play away to finish up the G, or we can cut out of this string shape here, 7 root 2, but we're taking just the pentatonic on that E string shape there. We can cut out of that over to here. So we've got root 2, 3, 5, 6. So we can finish up on this backwards flag shaped thing. Okay, so we got root 2, 3, 5, 6, and way up here. By the way, it helps to, do these things. Let's say this is a pentatonic. To do like. I like to just keep playing while I'm, climbing up that pentatonic, but it would really be like this. Okay, there's your 2 to 2. Okay, but you got the choice. You can remember, we don't need the short scale anymore because we can play this off the capo. So we can off the fret nut capo, or just play it without playing the short scale, because the short scale will go like this. Now let's look at those long pentatonics. So we're going to zoom out for a minute. Remember, we've got all this to cover. And don't let this fool you. We're looking at 7 times 3 is 21 boxes, plus an extra column to show how that connect. Lydian connects to Ionian. You got to stop somewhere or start somewhere. So there's a lot of overlap in these. It just, I can't see any of them now. There's horizontal and vertical pattern substitutions. Okay, with the short patterns, we can look at an E-shaped D, right? Now, we go to the F here with E shape, or we can substitute an A-shaped E. We move the pattern up. Now, we hit a warp when we move the pattern up. So when you move a chord up, it's similar to moving a pattern up. It's just where you grab the pattern and move it up. It's just that with the tuning third between the G and the B string, we don't have an E shape. So here's the tri-pentatonic root 2, 3, 5, 6. So right here is root 2, 3, and this is what is called the S3A XL. Okay, so if we're looking at 5, 6, when we were on that mixolydian, it's 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a mixolydian scale. Okay. So that's the 5th. All right. Now we're just looking at that same 5th. Here we're selecting root 2, 3, 5, 6. So here's 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6. We played that pentatonic from the G. Then 4, 5, 6, root 2, but we're going to start with the 5, 6. So it's. Okay. We're going to be using the A chord there. So it's right there, the A chord. A-shaped C. A-shaped C. Then we're going to go to the 4th of A, which is D shape. For this down here. Okay. 5, 6, root 2, 4, 5, 6, or 4, 5, 6, root 2. And then for the 5th of the A shape, it's the E shape. Okay, then we're going to go 5, 6, 7, 2, 3. So this defines how we select the 1, 4, and the 5 out of the extra longs. Okay, this defines how we select the 1, 4, 5 out of the shorts that we're used to the shorts. So the same thing is happening here, just keep an eye on when we're moving patterns around. Now let's talk about We started on the D shape here. We went to its fourth. We're going, fourth is counterclockwise on the cage, circle of fifth. So this is circle of fifth. The other way is fourth. We went to the G shape, and then clockwise in the circle of fifths, we went to the A shape. Now let's look at this. Okay, so we're starting here from root here. All right, over here, move the pattern down, and the pattern becomes the caged fifth shape. Okay, so we're over here, starting on root here, move the pattern down, the pattern becomes the caged fifth shape. Why? Because if root was originally C with the pattern here, say this is your lowest playable note was a C here, you move the pattern down, C is the fourth of what? G, which is the fifth shape. What are we looking at here? We're looking at root 2, 5, 6, root 2. Now let's see where that shape ends up. Okay, so I had to zoom out here. We're going to see if we can find these patterns. This is the key to the whole thing. Can you find the pattern quickly on the chart? Once you find it, you know what it is. I've struggled with this to get the chart itself, so trust me, the chart is already done. This is how I derived it, and I'm just showing you a little bit about that. So what we got here, how I indicate these was important, and this is the way I needed to see them, with the raw numbers. Okay, with the raw numbers, so we can know what kind of chart, what kind of patterns we're looking at. I just want to show you a little bit about how I arrived at this and these guys, and then eventually the entire chart, where we'll show you towards the end of the lesson how it actually works and defines the cages, the modal cages, once and for all in tri-pentatonic long pattern modals with cutout options. So we have here the bottom string here. Okay, we have the bottom string. Now it's root 2, 3. So the root pattern is 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6. Right there, 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay, now when we move the pattern down, okay, root becomes the fourth. So that's actually, it's the fourth of the fifth pattern. Okay, so notice the pattern goes root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2. Look at this one, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 5, 6. But notice the shape of these patterns. Long and the two shorts stacked on top of it. Long and two shorts stacked on top of it, because the fifth becomes the new root in a pentatonic scale. Now we move the pattern up, okay, where root was, now becomes the fifth. So obviously if it's key of C, C is the fifth of F, F is the fourth of C. So the pattern becomes 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6. Let's look at that fourth. We've got 5, 6 right here. We got 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3. Right there, below the string and above the string. That's the mistake we made. We started building it from there, but we had to go one below it. So it's 2, 3, root 2, 4, 5, 6, right? 5, 6, root 2, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3. You see there's two shorts and a long there, so it's all about identifying these pattern shapes. And put the numbers aside, because you know that if you're looking at the fourth, this is the fourth shape. So these numbers are the fourth of each other. Okay, so this middle one here with the 5, 6, what's the relation between 5 and root? Root is the fourth.